Hello and welcome to a new episode of Cinema Savvy News. It is myself, George, tonight joined by Christopher Garner, and we are back after almost a month. Long story, it was the Christmas break, plus we were all in London for a Star Wars film. And let's be honest, news is dead. We've got a show tonight. I will say we're not covering 4 weeks of news. That would obviously be too long. What we've done, we've took the biggest news stories of the last 4 weeks to talk about, and we've also got to talk about the box office figures, not weekend by weekend, but more or less the big 4 films that have come out, as well as the normal previewing, stuff like that. But how are we tonight, Chris?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I mean, even though we've condensed it, there's still a lot of interesting things to talk about, pretty much ranging from all the usual stuff, a bit of superhero news in there. A lot of stuff going on with 20th Century Fox, which we'll get to later. But yeah, no, doing good. A lot of stuff to get through.
Yeah, and I guess we'll just kick off with 20th Century Fox because it's technically the biggest story maybe the last 20 years in film. But it's a story that we've spoke about many times, and there's nothing new to add except that Disney did buy them out for $52 billion. We don't need to go over
just a casual $52 billion.
Yeah, right? I mean,
drop in the ocean for Disney.
They probably sat there thinking, well, we paid $4 billion for Star Wars, we made our money back inside 5 years. They're probably sitting there thinking, what are we going to do with 20th Century Fox? That's going to take a bit more than 5 years. But they've bought them. I'm not going to list you every franchise that they've bought with them. I'm not going to tell you what's gone over, what's not. It's basically like 2/3. Like they've now got 2/3 of cinema. Let's be honest. Yeah. And yes, if you're sad enough, Simpsons did predict it on an episode because they predicted everything. But I guess the big one is the one I don't want to talk about, which is they bought Fantastic Four and X-Men. That's all the internet thinks they bought, when the reality is so much grimmer than that. But we're sure they'll find a place for them in Phase 4 for the next 20 years.
Yeah, I just imagine Disney, like underneath the Disney castle at Disney World, there's like a big Scrooge McDuck vault of gold coin that they just like dip into, and they're just piling all the coins in there now. I mean, you pretty much just said it. They own everything now. Like anything that isn't Harry Potter, Bond, or DC yet, they pretty much have.
Yeah,
which is because we talked about like it was on, then it was off, then it was back on again. Now it's happened, and that's not a terrifying monopoly now.
It's a depressing monopoly. Yeah. But I imagine them being like Gringotts Bank. They probably have a vault with each franchise in which the Disney came in, just took them all. Yeah. Are they the Voldemorts or are they the Harry Potters? I don't know. But Warner Bros. Keep that franchise, please. Actually, to be fair, I don't care what happens to Harry Potter because J.K. Rowling is not giving up her creative control. She got the best deal I think any author's probably ever had on a franchise.
Yeah, and it's just weird as well because like it's weird, but some franchises feel at home to a certain film company. Like to me, Harry Potter feels at home with Warner Brothers, as does, well, I guess what's going on with Bond right now. Did that get bought out by Warner Brothers in the end? We talked about that, didn't we?
They kind of mix and match whoever they feel like. It's probably going to go Warner Brothers, but they are very much Eon's production. They're more that the production company own the franchise, and they're not going to give up. They're just going to get their rent with their whoever wants to pay to distribute them.
Just imagining like Mr. Dickovich now from Spider-Man 2. Rand.
That Broccoli family, they are very well off, and they always will be. But it's not hard to guess where it will go. We don't have a director yet. I guess we can say for the next Bond film. It's definitely not Denis Villeneuve, but I would imagine the film after next we get a Nolan Bond because it is going to happen. It's the most boring but inevitability. What's that horrible James Bond quote? It's the inevitability of time. That's what I believe Paddington Bear says to James Bond in Spectre. But less merger news. We have to talk about depressing news, and none other than Warner Brothers have hired a new president of DC Films. They have hired Walter Hamada, who worked on the It film. Now, I guess you can say part 1 or part 2. The Conjuring cinematic universe, I guess we could say another one. They've hired someone that, to be fair, in terms of statistics, box office figures, audience, even reviews, he's done good.
He's done very well for them.
Very low key. I mean, it's grossed more than Justice League, I think.
It was huge, and I don't know how much Annabelle Creation made. I actually thought that movie was pretty decent, in all honesty. So he did very well for them in 2017. But it's that depressing moment where they're like scrambling now for like answers or like what they can do to patch this thing up. And in all honesty, The Conjuring has done a pretty much a better job of creating a cinematic universe than DC has so far, which I never thought I'd say. What with Conjuring 1, 2, Annabelle Creation, and then like they're going to do the spin-off with The Nun. Like, it's done a better job. There was even a post-credit scene at the end of Annabelle Creation, which teased the next movie, which, you know, it's a sorry state. But I guess, does it make sense to get a guy who's like just solely worked on horror movies for Warner Brothers to do DC?
I think if they've got someone churning profit out of their sort of back catalogue, then they're probably going to see what can he do with the A game. I guess one thing to say is that he'll be working closely with Jeff Johns, which I think is the one good thing. DC brought Jeff Johns in far too late. They were already in production on Justice League, and yeah, he when they decided to do the cinematic universe, they should have sat down. Marvel has a Kevin Feige. He is not a comic writer that Jeff Johns is, but he knows his stuff. Jeff Johns knows his stuff. Basically saved DC with the new 52 line, which was very good. And he should have been on from the get-go. They brought him in too late.
Johns works on some of the animated ones, I think, doesn't he, that come out?
I think so.
Not on all of them, but on a few, I think.
And I feel that he has something to do with Arrow when it just began. I'd need to double-check that. But he's a guy that knows DC. But I think when he was brought in, they were already on production on Justice League. So I guess he probably really hasn't had enough time to sort of stamp it in.
And the foundation's already been made, so there's only so much you can do at this point.
So maybe we'll see a renaissance. Obviously, we've got Wonder Woman 2, Shazam, Aquaman, Justice League 2, but probably at some point.
Can't stop this ball from rolling. It's already...
No,
the die is cast.
It's like that Indiana Jones thing that the DC ball is rolling, but this guy really is getting further away.
Yeah.
And the ball is shrinking. It's rolling, but it's really shrinking. But hopefully, because I want them to make good films, hopefully he does come in and save the day. In theory,
I want them to make good movies as well, but the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, and I guess number-wise as well, you could say Wonder Woman. That was a good film when that brought in the money. There is no coincidence that good films bring in more money. Whatever people say, that film made money. I'm sure a sequel will, because they've obviously kept the same creative team or whatnot. But that's DC. That's probably going to be one of the last times they get spoken about for not a long time, but I guess Aquaman next year. They've got a very quiet year coming up. They're filming lots next year, so there'll be news stories, I'm sure, but I don't think they'll have as much a catastrophe as this year.
No, it'd be interesting to see what they do at Comic-Con this year. Like, I think they'll just be pushing Aquaman, probably showing a teaser trailer, maybe some visuals, and that's probably going to be it. Because is that the only one they've got coming out next year, or have they got... Flash has been pushed back to the point of...
They'll probably... I wouldn't be surprised if they announce a new Batman at Comic-Con this year.
Yeah.
This year, that's actually very weird now. But I think Comic-Con will be major because they really need to get... They've got their fans on their side, but they need the audience on their side now. There's a huge correlation between fans and audience. And they really need to... I mean, DC... Marvel don't need Comic-Con. They do it, but I think when they announced Phase 3, they set their own little one-day show up. And I think Kevin Feige has said in the past he wants his own version of Star Wars Celebration for the Marvel films. Won't be surprised if not this year, but maybe the year after they announce their Phase 4 slate. But it'll be very interesting this year's Comic-Con because I guess Marvel's got a soft reboot getting in X-Men Fantastic Four in theory. But I'd say moving on from DC films, so good luck to Walter. I hope he has a very smart influence. He's got stuff to work on immediately and to save things because obviously the last guy is gone. No surprise there. I guess one thing we have to talk about next, we're going to go straight into Han Solo, but I've got to talk about Christian Bale first. Christian Bale, who you may know worked on the greatest comic films ever made, the Dark Knight trilogy, famously did his Terminator rant, a guy that's very low-key, only picks films he wants to do. Well over 2-3 years ago, about 2 years ago, he was in talks to be in an Han Solo film, rumors everywhere, he would play, quote, a mentor figure. And he's come out recently and says, yes, I was in talks with them. I knew Kathleen Kennedy from working on Empire of the Sun, and I'm very much interested in working on the Star Wars films because he's basically said they're a big part of his childhood and that he really wants to work on one. Hopefully, we do get him in a Star Wars film in the future. More importantly, not only did he leave the door open for Star Wars, he spoke about DC because they can't ever interview one Batman about asking him about the others for some reason. Just like Nolan, when they asked him what he thought about Ben Affleck and Justice League, and he basically said he didn't care. Christian Bale's response is, "Have you seen the Ben Affleck Batman film?" And he says, "I have not. I'm interested. My son seemed like he really was interested, and then I realized he only wanted to see the trailer. That was it. I tend to go to see the films that my kids want to see. I have to confess, please, DC fans, don't cry here. I'm not a huge superhero film fan. People seem surprised at that. I don't know why. I've not seen any of the Avengers films or any of those films at all. I hear they're good, but I'm just quite happy hearing that they're good."
I bet Twitter's gone crazy over this. I bet they're now bitching against the Nolan Batman trilogy, saying how dare he say this? He's
They've been saying it for years.
Batman. Yeah.
They say, "Oh, this is the worst Batman ever from some of the worst Batman films ever." And you're there like 5 years ago. These guys were toasting that these films making $1 billion. I mean, Dark Knight Rises almost made twice as much money as Justice League. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
Really let that sink in. But I mean, Christian Bale, like, he's allowed to have that opinion. Like, I think Michael Keaton, I don't see him watching every single. I mean, he might because he's a cool guy, but I don't see him caring. I don't see Val Kilmer coming out and saying Ben Affleck's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, Keaton's had a lot more time with it, hasn't he? And
yeah, I was going to say,
doing so much other stuff, especially recently. He's had a bit of a comeback with Birdman, and then did The Founder, didn't he? That McDonald's movie, which I still haven't seen. He did Spider-Man, so he's doing a lot of stuff.
He was the greatest thing about Spider-Man. I'll give him credit for that. But yes, that's Christian Bale. Please, people, if you're upset, toast your opinions on him. I personally think he is my favorite Batman. I think he's the best Bruce Wayne, not necessarily the best Batman, but he's my favorite. He's in my favorite films. I think everyone's got their opinions. Chris, yours is Keaton.
Yeah. For Bruce Wayne, I'd probably say Christian Bale takes it for Bruce Wayne, but for Batman, it's hands down Michael Keaton for me in the live action. Although I will say that I don't mind Affleck. I know a lot of people are hating on him. I thought Affleck's decent. It's just a shame about the material he's got. But I think we've hated on the DC fanboys and everything enough, don't you?
Yeah, 2018 is a new start.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, they just make it so easy to take the piss out of them, don't they, at the minute? So...
just read the comments.
Once they start making good movies, we'll be fine. We won't hate on you anymore, but it just make it so easy.
At least, I mean, the problem is every time a comic book film comes out, the DC fans comment in swarms. And the Marvel films, they have their fans like that. But they aren't as alt-right as the DC fans. There are some normal ones, don't get me wrong. We know some of our subscribers are DC fans, but they're not extremists.
They're people that like kidnap your family, burn your house to the ground, and like lynch you from a tree or something. Whereas Marvel fans will probably just voice their concerns with a dislike on your video, and that's about it.
Yeah, like a normal human being. At least to be fair, like, I think Star Wars are in the middle ground of them two now.
Yeah,
because now you've got people crying about 30. Oh, my Luke Skywalker theory is wrong from 30 years ago when I was 8.
It's throwing all the fan fiction out the window that you wrote when you was 8 years old.
Brilliant. The best one I saw was, minor spoiler, was how is Snoke? No, sorry. I refuse to believe that Snoke is dead because he is Darth Plagueis. How can a Sith this powerful die? Right? Even though Darth Plagueis was killed by his apprentice like Snoke. But you can't have that opinion. I'm sorry. You're wrong. Anyway, spoiler over. I wasn't meant to say that, but it happened because that's something else I'll say. Which
that does take us on very nicely to Star Wars, though.
Yes, it does. John Williams is currently writing the theme for the Han Solo spin-off film. He announced in an interview he's writing a theme for it. Obviously, a Han Solo theme, which still means that John Powell's doing the entire score. He's writing all the other bits of music. They literally just brought on John Williams to do a Han Solo theme. I'm intrigued because we've never actually had a Han Solo theme in all 9 Star Wars films. There's never been a Han Solo theme as such. You've had the Leia theme, obviously Binary Sunset, the Imperial, Krennic, loads of them. Even Jin basically had a theme. But Han, the closest thing that you have to a theme is the Leia sort of extended, Leia, isn't it? Yeah, the romance one. So I'm kind of intrigued, but I also kind of don't care.
I think it's neat that they've got Williams back. Like,
Yeah.
I know he's not doing the entire score, and I mean, the guy for me is better with doing main themes than he is filler music. To me, is filler music. All the stuff in between you can kind of blend from movie to movie with his, but his themes are great. So if he can do a really memorable one for Han Solo, that's wonderful. But I mean, you're never going to hear that theme again in any of the other ones with Han Solo in because they've been and gone. So it feels a bit strange, but who knows? It's good that they've got him back to do a theme at least. It's nice that they've carried him over because I mean I know he wasn't in Rogue One at all, but that soundtrack was still fantastic, and I have every bit of confidence in John Powell because he's a great composer as well. He's done mostly animated stuff and family films, so it'll be fine. It's just interesting that they've got him.
Yeah, I think what it is that with Rogue One, Giacchino's themes, they're all new characters. As such, he has a take on the Imperial March, but there was never a theme from a character in the main film. So I wonder if it's kind of Lucasfilm, like, hey, he's one of the sort of the episodic characters. Why don't you write the theme and we'll give the rest? It's a very weird one. I hope that they gave John Powell a chance.
Yeah, no,
I assume they would have because they've said he's still doing the score. It's just they want John Williams to do that theme for him. It's just I've never really heard that before. Like a guy comes on to do like one song and leaves. I know like Zimmer occasionally has people helping in and out, but that's more of a collaboration.
Yeah, exactly.
Than another thing. But it does mean they'll be getting a Han Solo theme because apparently people wanted one for 40 years.
Well, this makes me wonder now if this is going to be like a trend now. Like, will they do like a Kenobi theme? And I don't know if Williams will be the one doing it, though, at that point, which really depresses me to say, but who knows? But will this be a trend now?
I don't... Well, when you get Rogue One, you've got what? You've got the Krennic theme.
Yeah,
you have Jins, and you've got Chirrut and... I guess you could say it's more the guys their wills, but Chirrut and Baze is the theme.
Yeah.
I'm down for getting themes for these new characters, but when you say we're going to get a theme for Kenobi... Part of me just doesn't want one. I'd just rather have like Ewan McGregor just saying like hello there, just amplified. Have like the Inception soundtrack, so regret really, and just slow down and Zimmer composes around the entire thing. I would like them to do that to the Ewan McGregor saying hello, then just compose a soundtrack around it.
Oh my god! Don't give them ideas. Actually, that would be pretty good. Or no, take Alec Guinness's Blu-ray changed Crate Dragon call, which he scares the Sand People off with, and do something with that. God knows what you could do with that. There'd be some like weird prog, like industrial kind of sound or something. I don't know. It's cool that they've got Williams back. I'm down for it. If anything, gives this movie a shred of credibility before it comes out in a few months' time.
And I guess one thing we can say about Solo is they're expecting marketing to really kick in this week. Not this week, this month.
It's going to fucking have to at some point. Have they forgot that it still comes out in May?
I think they didn't want to take the shine off. I think they wanted to avoid the sort of... So with Infinity War, they dropped that Infinity War trailer before Thor. Like Black Panther. I mean, I'm looking forward to Black Panther, don't get me wrong. But Black Panther is now overshadowed by Infinity War. And obviously they had to release the trailer at this point. But they could have dropped the Infinity War trailer before Thor. But they chose to wait because it would have dampened Thor. I feel like we will get a Han Solo trailer in the next 2 weeks with the poster.
See, all of this would be avoided if they just released it in December.
But that's why they didn't want to, because they didn't want it to be around Last Jedi, did they? I don't know why.
I mean push it back.
Oh,
push the entire film back to December, and then you can worry about marketing at like D23 or whenever you do it later in the year.
There's nothing this year. There's Comic-Con, but they always drop a trailer in April and a trailer in like October. So I don't know. It's going to be a very odd year. It's going to have to be the next few weeks. It has to be. There'll be 2 trailers by May. They're going to have to release all the merchandise, all the posters. So it's going to happen. There was a fake Photoshop going around, which Disney confirmed was fake, and they asked everyone to remove. Apparently, if you zoom in on the Falcon, you can actually see it's the end of an Imperial Star Destroyer. Someone just cut it off, put it on the Falcon, and cut it in.
Oh, right, okay.
So I went, that's pretty neat.
It looks convincing. It was a good...
Yeah, it did. It really did. But we will get news more. We will be covering all of that. We'll have a trailer talk when the trailer does drop, whenever the hell it's going to drop. Even if it does drop, maybe let's release a film with no trailer. Adam Driver said he wanted that to happen for episode 8. It didn't happen, obviously. But, yeah. We got the Star Wars hype done and dusted. We have some sadder news now, which we've been covering Creed 2 a lot, like a lot more than I anticipated. I think Creed's probably the Avatar for the most amount of coverage the film has had. Sylvester Stallone, like a month or 2 after Full Cap's declaring he's directing it on Instagram, announces that he's not directing anymore. He is being taken over by a guy called Stephen Caple Jr. Pun not intended. But yeah, the Creed's changed director. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know any film that the guy's done.
I checked a few of his stuff on IMDb. In all honesty, he's just directed a bunch of short films, a couple of TV episodes. His first, like, I say, proper film was The Land in 2016 about a couple of kids and skateboarding. But then I was thinking back to Creed 1 with Ryan Coogler.
And he'd only just done Fruitvale Station.
Exactly. He'd only done one like small film before, a great film, loved Fruitvale Station, but a very small film before. I haven't seen The Land, so I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I am upset that Stallone's off the direction chair because he's a great director when he does. And I mean, he's been with Rocky since the 70s. And I would have loved to have seen his take on Creed 2. But I mean, have they given a reason why he dropped off? Wasn't things working out creatively, or is he busy? Or...
No, I mean, I assume he's got creative control over this franchise anyway.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But what I do know is that Ryan Coogler originally pitched Creed to Stallone before he ever worked on Fruitvale Station. He pitched it to Stallone. They passed on it, and then he made Fruitvale Station. And they obviously rang him and says, "You know what? You're capable." Really, pun not intended with this new director, but I assume that they might be something they might want to give a go to a sort of newer indie director.
Yeah, I might even go and watch The Land actually in the next couple of weeks just to see what the style's like, because it's got to have handed it. I mean, this is Rocky. I mean, I know it's technically Creed, but it's part of the Rocky saga, and I don't think they'll want another bad entry, especially following after Creed. So I've got to assume that it's in the right hands. But,
I think it's
just a shame. Like, you've had so much good news coming out, and then it's like Stallone drops out of directing. It is what it is. I'm still looking forward to it. It'll still be good, I think.
Yeah, they just need to announce who's playing the son of. I always forget. I was going to say Dolph Lundgren. I just can't see. I only see Dolph Lundgren.
It's the son of Dolph Lundgren, especially because we saw him a couple of months ago at that convention. But it'll be good though when we do eventually get to Creed 2, because that means we can do our Rocky marathon, which I guess we were in talks to do before Creed came out. Never quite.
There's like what, six Rockies and Creed to come.
Yeah. Well, we've already done a review for Creed, so it'll just be the 6 Rockies. But
I can do it. Let's get Tate on. He loves sport, but hates Rocky,
them, doesn't he? Has he actually watched all the Rocky movies, or is he just
watched he's seen one, which is ironic because the first one's the most sportish. That it's not about them winning.
Yeah.
Spoiler, but. Yeah, Rocky films. I think it's all about Rocky 4, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on from Rocky, we have to talk about Woody Harrelson. Wow, I'm making this sound really depressing. Nothing bad. So in December, it came out. He's in talks to join Venom, which at this point was already filming. I guess they're probably on like a Christmas production shutdown now. But Woody Harrelson joining the Venom film, if it's true, it's not been confirmed if he's fully joined or if not.
Mm-hmm.
But if they've cast Woody Harrelson, there is only one character who he can play, who he needs to play, and that is Carnage. I don't care that he's not Ginger with a big afro. Woody Harrelson as Carnage would be the only casting that makes sense.
See, I don't know anything about Carnage. All I know for Carnage is that he's a red version of Venom. That's as far as I know. But I heard people talking about, you know how you go on those articles, it's like the top 10 people we'd like to see play Carnage. And Jim Carrey was at the top of every list, so I've got to assume that he's like a very zany character, like when he's in his human form. But I don't know the comics, so
he is a serial killer who is crazy. Now, Jim Carrey. Now you've said that name, I've watched Jim and Andy this week. Fantastic documentary recommended by Sheila, who always comments. Very, very, very good documentary. I watched it day after we did our top 10 of the year, so I couldn't actually include it. I then followed that with 2 Ace Ventura films back to back.
Nice.
Jim Carrey he wouldn't have made a good Carnage because it's Jim Carrey. That sounds terrible, but I mean in the sense that it would be like the Riddler. Like I love him. I love him as the Riddler, but it's Jim Carrey. Carnage, I want it to be Woody Harrelson. I think it could be Woody Harrelson. He's got to be able to be a psycho serial murderer. And I think Woody Harrelson, I mean, the famous, if anyone's seen, why do I always forget the film? Natural Born Killers. That could be his audition from 20 years ago. And his dad was a hitman, I believe. So he's never shied away from violence and stuff like that. And he's been on a bit of a hot streak, I will say, in terms of films.
Even recently, if you look at Apes, like playing the bad guy from that movie, he was incredible. So I could absolutely see him playing a villain role. He's so good because he can do comedy, he can do like a straight role, or he can do absolutely insane, murderous character. So sure, if he's playing Carnage, I'm down.
Brinsley
Let's just hope that it's good. Go on.
Brinsley says, "Alrighty then." I can't do the voice and the necks and everything.
I think the closest we ever get to an Ace Ventura impression is when we quote "Honka Honka" from Suicide Squad.
Yeah, or do we always say that "alrighty" means, or was that just me to everyone on Snapchat?
I think that's just you. Yeah, I think that's just
me. But yeah, Woody Harrelson, get him in. Another thing, oh god, more comic book films. Gambit, that film that is still happening, believe it or not. It's actually starting shooting in March, which is mad. You think they would have cancelled it by now? Disney come in and get that investment off the table.
I was going to say, that's with like Disney, like what's going to happen with this now? Like, who do the proceeds go to? Is this still technically 20th Century Fox, but now it's been passed over? Or something got to be finalized legally? Or
I've got no idea. I think what will happen is they'll probably keep everything in production as it is, but I can imagine no more films getting greenlit. As in comic book films, no more green lights until Comic-Con they drop a bomb of knowledge. I mean, it would have been amazing to have done Days of the Future Past to merge the two cinematic universes, but they're 3 years behind that now. They've missed their chance.
Someone will do a fan edit to that, I'm sure. A lot, like down the line, once there's enough footage out there, that would be good.
Brinsley also says, "Don't remind me about Ace Ventura Joker from Suicide Squad." Now that would be a perfect time to put alrighty then. But yeah, Gambit. Wow. I think Channing Tatum's still starring in it.
Yeah, no, I was wondering if he's still. Yeah, I think he still is. He's stuck with it from the start, hasn't he, Channing Tatum?
Yeah, and Gore Verbinski directing.
Yeah, I've said before, like, I love the character of Gambit, but I like him when he's within the X-Men. I don't know how good he will be as a film about him on his own. Like Deadpool's, I know you hate Deadpool, but Deadpool's got enough personality to carry a film
be his
on
own
his
film.
own.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think Gambit has. But I mean, I don't really know the comic books again.
Gambit, no, because if you think about X-Men, people that can carry a film by themselves, in all honesty, I don't think Magneto or Charles is good enough to carry it by themselves. They need each other, which is why First Class was so great. Wolverine's got enough, and they botched the first one. The other two were beautiful. Actually, we'll say Logan's been nominated for a Screen Actors Guild for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Has it?
There's always one quirky thing like that, and that's this year's one. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, Gambit he's not well known enough. I love Channing Tatum. I don't think he's enough of a star to have a film done around his involvement as well. He's great though. Like he's moved on so well with his career, but I don't know. Gambit's just to me it's a dead fodder.
Yeah, and I mean, if Disney do choose to do a reboot, then it's kind of pointless, really, isn't it? Because he'll just get rebooted down the line as a new Gambit, and there goes your franchise that you were setting up.
Yeah, and Gambit's probably a character that would actually work well under Disney's MCU banner too.
Yeah.
Our biggest concern: what are they going to do with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch?
Well, they've got the rights now, haven't they? So like, you could actually do that properly now.
They just suddenly like add in ADR for Infinity War where they call her Scarlet Witch,
and they're also Magneto's children and mutants.
They say, "Oh, our dad's coming in," and it's actually, well, not Ian McKellen, but you know, what I mean, a new Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, you got to think like who's going to be cast as all the new X-Men. So it's exciting. At least we're going to get away from like Sophie Turner, Jean Grey, right, and all that bollocks that's going to happen in Dark Phoenix. But anyway, we've talked enough about X-Men. We'll move on.
Yes, we're leaving the comic book world, and we're talking about we're talking about Marlon Brando now. A biopic is in production. Again, this should be massive news, but went completely under the radar. Just the December time slot of me being Star Wars of everyone else, and no one being on the internet. So there was a book written by one of his best friends that passed away last year. That book has now been commissioned to be turned into a screenplay, a biography of his life, and that will be made into a biopic. Now, I can imagine this being Oscar bait everywhere. Who's going to play Marlon Brando? That could be a very fascinating film. Very risky, though. Biopics of actors can be very risky. Some pay off, like The Disaster Artist, I guess you could say in theory, is a bit of a biopic. But I'm intrigued. I mean, I don't like the fact that it's been commissioned as soon as his best friend died. That probably had the rights to it. But that will be interesting when that develops further, I guess.
I'd love to see this. I've actually just brought up a picture of Brando now, and I'm trying to think of an actor that could play him. But I mean, where we are now with Christian Bale playing Cheney, or even more recently with The Darkest Hour with Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill, you could literally get anyone and make them up to look like whoever. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see which point of his life they do with Brando as well, unless they go all through it. Because I know that on set he was a bit of a diva. Like he liked doing his own thing. Like someone could hand him a script, he'll throw it away, not memorize the lines, and come up with something on the fly. With like Apocalypse Now, and I know he did get overweight and a little bit out of shape towards the end. So I don't know. It's interesting. That'll probably be up for some Oscars though, I guess, if that gets made. Unless it's going to be like
it would never happen.
Type of movie.
It would never happen. But do you know who's got a bit of a Marlon Brando look to them?
Who?
Billy Zane.
Yes. Yeah. No, I can see that.
Just that scene where he just slaps someone right in the face.
He's got nothing going on now, has he, Billy Zane? I think he's done a bit of voice acting work recently. That's about it.
Princely put Johnny Depp's the modern day Marlon Brando, replace food with booze. Yes, very good point there. I do love Johnny Depp, I won't lie. But I guess we can't talk about some stuff because Amber Heard might come and try and sue us.
Speaking of slapping and yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean it that way. I just meant in terms of other stuff. Yeah. Let's move on. Another biopic in production, not as anticipated as Marlon Brando. So Dave Prowse, who most people in Britain know, I don't think many people know him in America, in all honesty. He played Darth Vader, the actual man in the suit. And there's a biopic kind of in production on him called Strongman. Every year they publish the blacklist of screenplays, basically the top 10 screenplays that weren't picked up that year. And his biopic is on there, Strongman. And it's basically going to cover from him as a bodybuilder from his early days, I guess probably till post Star Wars or something. Because obviously, to be fair, there's a fascinating story in that he did coach. I forgot. Yeah, that's it. For Superman. Yeah. So there's stuff they can do. Personally, I think that I don't know if it would be interesting enough, because to me the most interesting part looking at his life is his fallout with George Lucas and training Superman. But do the two bits warrant a biopic? I don't know. It'd be interesting. I'd like to see the plan for it. But if that's made the blacklist, then it will probably be picked up in the next few months and stuff will happen.
Yeah, but with saying like announcing a biopic, like they anticipating his impending demise fairly soon or something. You know what I mean? Like when not all the time, but usually with a biopic, it's mostly for people who have passed on, who have some kind of legacy. Not all the time, as I say, but most of the time. I don't know. I'm down to see it. I'll be again like the Brando. It'd be interesting to see who they get to play him, because they've got to get someone who can do the not Yorkshire, but like the farm, like Summer.
The British farmer's accent.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, but obviously with us, we go to conventions, so we know the convention scene as such. And Dave Prowse, since older age, has been a sort of like he's at almost every convention. He's retired due to health, like last month, literally. So, he's in a I don't know what to say, but he's in a bad state basically. So announcing a biopic now I don't know what I feel. But I'm kind of intrigued because it's not someone you'd go to about a biopic, which could make it interesting, which is maybe why it's going to get picked up, because it's not your stereotypical biopic. Whereas going back to Brando, if I was going to quickly chime in, my opinion is don't do a Brando biopic. Do it. You know, the Netflix doing that Crown series, where they've got they're doing 6 series and they're getting 3 actors on the Queen. So series 1 and 2 is one actress, 3 and 4 be the other, 5 and 6 the other. Marlon Brando could easily warrant something like that, with multiple actors across the time period. But there's that. I guess that's the biopic section done. We don't really ever get to talk about stuff like that.
Yeah,
I do like my biopics. I won't lie. Heading into Oscar season as well, they're everywhere. Like we've literally got Darkest Hour next week, and then the Post the week after over here. So there's already 2, I guess you could say.
Like all the inspired and true event stories, like Molly's Game, All the Money in the World, I believe, is based on true stories. Yeah, they're everywhere.
I like Spectre. Sorry, I love that joke. They're everywhere. Next up, Oscar Isaac, the beloved Poe Dameron, has been cast as Gomez Adams in an animated Addams Family film being created. When I read that he got cast, I thought it was an actual film. I've never seen the original. I've never seen the Tim Burton version. I know of them via, obviously, like iconography and stuff.
Tim Burton's never done a version of Addams Family.
I swear he did. What? No, he did a terrible film like
Dark Shadows, which was, I'll give you, was kind of like it. Yeah,
it was basically like the B-Tech Addams Family. That's my bad on that. But yeah, Oscar Isaac. Let's be honest, he's great, and if it's an animated film, they can do what they want with their voices.
Yeah, and I seem to remember. So, yeah, it is. I just checked on IMDb. I was going to say with Adam's Family, it kind of needs that stop motion animation if they're going to do it, like kind of Nightmare Before Christmas or Corpse Bride, something with that gothic weird style. And it is going to be a stop motion animated film. So I'm down for that. I love the one from the 90s with oh god, I forgot the name of the actor who played Gomez. The one with Christopher Lloyd in as Uncle Fester. Love those two movies. They then recast them, and I think Tim Curry played Gomez in Adam's Family Reunion, which was terrible. But I'm down for some more Adam's Family. And Oscar Isaac, like, I could picture him being a live action Gomez. So,
He looks like him from a picture I saw as well.
So
That's
it's a bit of a shame that he'll never get that chance. But I've never really listened to his voice solely. Like, it's always just been Oscar Isaac on camera, whether it's Star Wars or Ex Machina. Or Robin Hood, I guess. But I'm sure he can do well with it. He can have some fun with it.
Oscar Isaac's amazing. He's done so many. He's so versatile. I always forget he's in Drive as well. He's the one that gets shotgunned. But Poe Dameron, the man, the pilot, the greatest in the galaxy. I adore him. I love Oscar Isaac. Any project he's in, something to look forward to. Because I think he's one that's smart as well with what he picks.
Yeah.
I guess moving on, we've got a very random reboot. Robert Downey Jr. has been cast to play Dr. Dolittle. They're rebooting, in theory, I guess, for the third time Dr. Dolittle's going to be on the big screen. So we last had Eddie Murphy. Now we're getting Robert Downey Jr., which I won't lie, I could see. And I could see him doing a very good job. We might give him a teaser when he meets the raccoon in Infinity War. But I'm really down for Dr. Dolittle. I very much enjoyed them films when I was younger. A little soft spot, but that's a reboot I'm not actually opposed.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one that I know with Eddie Murphy itself was a reboot of. There was one in the 60s, wasn't there? With oh God, what's his name? Rex Harrison. I want to say Rex.
Because he went on a bit of a reboot, didn't he? He did Nutty Professor as well.
Yeah, that was a reboot of an old one.
Classic
you're right.
one, yeah.
But I mean, I'm down for it. Whether it's going to be like a musical version, like the '60s one was, whether it's going to be more of a family comedy like the '90s one was, I don't know. But you're right. I can picture Downey Jr. doing that, and even like in terms of versatile actors, like he is absolutely a versatile actor. Like, yes, we know him as like Tony Stark and the Wisecrack, but like Tropic Thunder. I mean, come on, like the guy can absolutely disappear into a role.
Chaplin.
Oh, Chaplin. Yeah, I still haven't seen that movie. Actually, I heard that was fantastic.
It was when he was. It's so weird seeing when he was young because he's so prominent at the age now. But I guess that's his post-Marvel contract coming in. Bringing back a Sherlock Holmes. I loved him in Sherlock Holmes. I prefer him as Benedict Cumberbatch. I'll always say that on record.
Yeah.
Give us Sherlock 3. Get that guy off Aladdin and get him doing a Sherlock film. It's Guy Ritchie. That's the one. Oh dear. But yeah, that's my little anti. Aladdin rant doing. Next up, we have a man who is the most versatile actor of them all, the one and only Andy Serkis. Everyone forgets his second directed film is coming out this year. It's The Jungle Book, and it's now been renamed to Mowgli, obviously based off the character from The Jungle Book. I still get a bit sad about this because it was, in all honesty, a battle who's going to make the film first out of Disney and Warner Bros. And obviously, Andy Serkis is adapting the actual Kipling books, not the Disney animated film, but the cast he's put together has the likes of Christian Bale, Benedict Cumberbatch, Cate Blanchett, himself as Baloo, because why wouldn't he? Tom Hollander, and a couple more people. And I'm buzzing for this, but I'm very happy they've renamed it to Mowgli. They delayed it a year, I guess, for him to make Breathe, which was his debut, which came out last year. But I really want to see a trailer of this because you know that these visuals are going to be better than anything else. And I thought the Disney Jungle Book was pushing things. This is probably going to be unreal.
This is definitely going to be one to watch on IMAX, I think, when it comes out. But like I know he made Breathe in Between, which I actually did see back in, well, I guess I can say back in 2017 now, can't even though it was a couple of months ago. Didn't do a review for that. It was a fine movie. It was well directed, but the movie itself wasn't particularly very interesting to me personally. But I mean, he's been on this project for absolutely years now, and I think part of the reason for delaying it was to distance itself from the Disney Jungle Book film. I think it was originally going to come out a year apart. It was going to be called Jungle Book Origins. They pushed it back, and now obviously it's called Mowgli, which I'm a little bit upset about because this is going to be a very, very close adaptation, I think, to the original book, which is called The Jungle Book. And I'd rather them just call it The Jungle. I know they can't because the Disney one's always there. But I'll be very, very sad if this film doesn't do well. I think when the trailers come out, the visuals will be what get people in seats. But this isn't the Jungle Book version that you might be aware of. This isn't going to be bare necessities. This isn't going to be I was going to say King Like You. That's not it, was it? I Want to Be Like You. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a very darker, a lot more visceral take on Jungle Book, and hopefully people take to that.
I really hope they do, but the problem is Mowgli is not the name for a dark Jungle Book film.
No.
Mowgli sounds like what a Pixar film would be called.
Yeah.
I really hope this. I think this will be good. I think the cast is strong enough to market the film around. Because you get all the Benedict Cumberbatch. I think that as long as once them trailers start coming out, I reckon it'll be Planet of the Apes CG on a Jungle Book film. And Andy Serkis is a phenomenal actor. We always say it. Whether he's getting chopped in half by his apprentice or thrown off the Empire State Building or chucked in a pit full of lava.
He doesn't come to a good end in his films, does he really?
Well, he's playing Baloo this time. He's definitely going to make it to the end. Or will we? Maybe this is a dark twist.
I just wish Disney would have switched the title around now, because if you think about it, you had Maleficent, character name. You had Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, which, you know, well, Belle, I guess, but like Mowgli would have suited that. Yeah.
Aladdin. What other ones are they doing that year?
Winnie the Pooh. Well, there's Winnie Pooh.
Dumbo, Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, you're right. The first names would have worked.
Yeah.
I really want this film to be a hit. I do. He's got a big career ahead of him, I think, for directing as well.
Yeah.
And also, before I get to Fantastic Beasts, I do want to say I need this film to start like Harry Potter, but instead of Warner Bros. In the clouds, it's like Warner Bros. Logo in the jungle. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know who's doing the score. I really hope it's someone good.
I will have a look to see if they've confirmed that, but I don't know if they have at the minute.
And while you look, I will move on to the next one. We're in the very small tidbits of news. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald has now wrapped. They've released, like, I think 2 or 3 pictures online. One of Johnny Depp as Grindelwald in the street looking menacing. And the other one is just of Newt and Tina. Looks exactly the same as the last film. Nothing wrong with that, just similar costumes and stuff. But Fantastic Beasts 2 has wrapped. That is due out in November. I would assume you get a trailer in the next few months, maybe San Diego if it's not out beforehand. But that's going to be very interesting. And I guess I could say I'm seeing Cursed Child in a day and a half.
Yeah, you're in it for the long haul. 6 hours, isn't it? Combined, both parts of the play.
I think the day I got tickets was the day we did a Harry Potter Battle of the Brackets, which was one of the most intense phone calls I ever had. And it's been over a year. It's mental. While I'm killing time, I'm moving on from Fantastic Beasts 2 because it's literally a tidbit of news.
But really quickly, I did find out who's doing the music to Mowgli. I'm going to ruin this pronunciation, but it's Nitin Sawhney. He's a British Indian composer, so you're going to have that, you know, authentic sound of music for the Jungle Book, which should be pretty good.
Right, so that's a shame. I was really hoping you said Michael Giacchino.
Yeah, we always hope, don't we? Because he's just the name that's always thrown around there.
He's a Disney guy, isn't he?
He did the score to Breathe, so it's
working with him.
Yeah, carrying over. I don't think I've seen anything else that he's done. Going really quickly. No, that's it. That's all the one I know. Should be interesting though. But anyway, we can carry on now.
Next up, we have a film I don't think anyone wants to watch. Dungeons and Dragons has been set for 2021.
I'd be interested in it, although let's hope it's better than the cinematic
Warcraft.
abortion that was the previous. No, they did a previous Dungeons and Dragons film with Jeremy Irons as the villain. It's one of those guilty pleasure movies. Like, you have to see it to believe it. It was terrible, but with fantasy movies now, they can either be another Lord of the Rings, which is never going to happen, or they can be a Warcraft or the Hobbit trilogy. The Hobbit trilogy was better than Warcraft, but you know what I mean, that kind of style.
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons. People from their 80s are like coming out of their caves. Like, what year is it? Like that Jumanji meme. Put it this way: the best game we've ever had in a board game is Jumanji. The best game you've ever had based on a video game is Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. So, if in honesty, if you want us to be a hit, give it to Sony.
Yeah,
that's the sad truth of it all. G.I. Joe, the film that The Rock saved, they've slapped him in the face and they're rebooting it, and it will come out in 2020. Probably because he probably didn't come back for it. I would assume that's probably why they're rebooting it. But G.I. Joe, for anyone that cares, 2020, I don't think anyone's bothered. I can't imagine Hasbro caring. I imagine them to probably end up connecting this to Transformers for no reason.
That's what I was thinking, because the Bumblebee spin-off, although they've said it's still going to be vaguely tied into the Michael Bay universe, right? That comes out 2018. By 2020, you can guarantee they're probably going to commission a whole batch of other Transformers films. And like a G.I. Joe with Transformers movie has been talked about for ages. So I guarantee, get G.I. Joe out the way, maybe a G.I. Joe 2, then you're going to start seeing them cross over with Hasbro universe.
I mean, Bumblebee's come out.
I thought they got G.I. Joe back on track with the last one. Like, I heard a lot of good things about it. What was it? Bruce Willis and The Rock?
Yeah, I didn't mind the second one. It wasn't that bad. It was watchable. The Rock saved it. They delayed like a year for no reason, but it made money. The first one was the abomination of Christopher Eccleston's Scottish voice.
Still to this day, one of the worst films I've ever seen at the cinema.
And the twist that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is actually the villain. The thing is, over in England, G.I. Joe is not as big as it is in America, I guess. Yeah. We had Action Man. America had G.I. Joe. I think that's the big thing. So it's very American-y, and I think if you want that to be a hit, you have to bring The Rock back to some capacity. I don't think we'll do it.
No, I swear I heard they were commissioned an Action Man movie at some point. You've got the live-action Barbie coming out later this year with Anne Hathaway. So they
originally shelved the live-action... What's that stretchy man?
Oh, Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah, they're originally going to do that with not Channing Tatum. What's his name from Twilight?
Oh, God, Robert Pattinson?
No. The other one. Taylor Lautner, that's the one.
Yeah.
Taylor Lautner. There was a talk years ago, and that died, which is great because no one wants to watch a film like that. We're not going to get a toy to film trend. It's not going to happen. Transformers was the only one that's ever going to work. But that runs out our news. It's been a long... Well, it's not been that long. It's just big stories, so it's been longer. But we do have box office, right? And this is my baby. This is my favourite stuff. And we've been away for 4 weeks, so don't worry, I'm not going to tell you 4 weekends of box office results. I've got more to me than that. I'm just literally summarising the films that have come out. There's been one huge film. I wonder if you can guess what that was that everyone saw. But currently, The Last Jedi is on $1.103 billion worldwide. It's the second highest opening ever in America after The Force Awakens. It's currently the highest grossing domestic film of 2017, over Beauty and the Beast. And next week, it will likely overtake it worldwide to be the top of 2017. It broke no records. It kept coming second in them all because Force Awakens has every record. They said it was going to get 1.6 billion in the box office. I think it'll be less than that, and I'll explain why after we talk about Jumanji. But what I can say is that it's overtaken Rogue One at both box offices now, and it's out in China tomorrow, which I guess you could add. They're not massive on Star Wars, but they're still making a minimum of 100 mil over there. So I guess you can bump up its score with that. And also, I'll get to that later on. But yeah, The Last Jedi, it doesn't fit. I think because Force Awakens was so radically quick, it doesn't feel like it's been a miss, but because there's been some more negativity and other stuff. But I think the key thing to factor in Last Jedi is that episodes 2 and 3 did not outgross episode 1. Episode 5 and 6 did not outgross episode 4. Episode 8 and 9 will not outgross episode 7. That's something I've said for a long time. But at the end of the day, I'm not complaining that Star Wars film is still flying at the box office. There's that justice to be had. Every time you see a Star Wars film top of the year. Rogue One missed it by I think 80 mil to Civil War last year. Gutted. Han Solo's got no chance against Infinity War though. I'm sorry. No.
And I think people will still be tired, very tired of Star Wars even in May. I look forward to it in December, but I think that will take away a good chunk of its earnings as well.
Yeah, we're going to get The Last Jedi Blu-ray in April, and then we're going to get a film in May.
Yeah.
And then there's that long gap between Han Solo and Episode 9, which is great because I guess it will build up the excitement more than it could have done previously. Star Wars Land will be open at that point and everything will be going well. But The Last Jedi doing, I guess, as expected at the box office. Meanwhile, the biggest shock of 2017 to me has been Jumanji. Not only did I missed our review because I only saw it, I think, the other day.
Mm-hmm.
This was without doubt a film that had no right to be good, a film that should never have been put in production, but a film that actually ended up being good. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I guess I can voice that as my main opinion. The screening was sold out, which I was shocked about. And even more shocked was coming out to that day of the box office results. And it had a very average opening weekend. Just it opened up against like a week after Stars. You knew it was going to take a bump. The second weekend, which is a 4-dayer because of New Year, it grossed 40% more than its opening weekend, which is very rare. Yes, there's an extra day, but this film has had word of mouth on its side. And it made, I think last weekend it made 67 million. And Star Wars made 67.2 million. Something bizarre like that. Like Star Wars beat it by $200,000 a weekend, which is insane. I know Star Wars was in its third week and whatever, but Jumanji had no right to be near that. I think we all probably mocked it, saying, "Oh, it's going to make no money. It's going to be a massive flop." It's on 352 million worldwide right now, and that's going to open in China next Friday, a week after Star Wars, which will be very interesting because China loved The Rock. The first ones have made way too much money over there. The Rock is a big hit. I think Jumanji could potentially finish its run of like 500 million in the bank, maybe slightly more. Up against a Star Wars film, that is an achievement to be had.
And even not looking at the numbers, like just me personally, everyone on my newsfeed, people are still seeing Jumanji. And I saw someone earlier today actually saying second or third time seeing this movie, go to see Jumanji again. So it's definitely got an audience. And even for me, like you can check out mine and Tate's review on it, but we were very surprised with how good it turned out, which is fair play. Like, you know, I will stand corrected now when a new reboot comes out of one of my old cherished 90s things. Maybe I'll think twice.
Starring The Rock. I mean, I've always said you don't underestimate The Rock. He is the box office hit, but to take a chunk out of Star Wars like that, that's, I mean, to me, Jack Black was the best thing about that film.
Oh, yeah, agreed.
It was great to see him back and being funny. The Rock was The Rock. He was amazing. And Kevin Hart, again, the little sidekick, literally.
Karen Gillan was really good in it too. I thought she was probably my second favorite in it, in all honesty.
Yeah, no, Karen Gillan was great. It was just, it just worked. It had no right to work, but it did, which made me like it more. And I really hope, if I said that a year ago, I really hope we get Jumanji 3. But I assume that they're going to greenlight that. It's Sony. They're going to greenlight that straight away. If it was me, not that I'm a fanboy that would cry if my 30-year-old fan theory is wrong, you bring the video game characters of their actual characters into the real world this time. You switch it. I think that was written by Jake Kasdan as well.
Oh, was it?
Who I believe is the son of Lawrence. I might be wrong. Could be the similar names, but Lawrence Kasdan's son co-wrote the Han Solo film with him. And I think that's Jake Kasdan. So that's very interesting if true, which gives me a slight bit of hope Han Solo. But Jumanji, to me, biggest shock of 2017. Massive hit. Fair play. And I guess the other two quickly, because there was two. Perfect 3 opened up. No one cared. It grossed 101 million so far. It's going to be the lowest of the trilogy when it dies next week. Adios. Good riddance to you. Greatest Showman to come out. It's grossed 102 mil worldwide. Been quite split with people, but it's up for a load of Golden Globes and stuff. Your review's out there on the channel with Tate.
Yeah,
I believe that's out now. That's what we did just for our best and worst lists. So just jump back on our video before then. You'll find that. That's been the big 4 box office films, and we've got a preview for this weekend, which is the Duel of the Jays. You've got The Last Jedi versus Jumanji for number 1. They are both expected to gross between 25 and 27 million, so it's going to be very tight for those two for the domestic box office. But the big story is if Last Jedi wins, it matches the Force Awakens record of 4 weeks in a row at the top of the box office, which is big for like a sort of December release. But I have a feeling that Jumanji will outdo it this time.
It depends how much of a drop-off it is, because obviously to get that much money, Star Wars is still getting a lot of repeat viewings, or very big families going to see it on a constant basis. But I don't know, Jumanji's just, I mean, is that the only comedy out at the moment? I know that Star Wars has got a few ha-ha, hee-hee laughs in it, I guess, I suppose. But in terms of comedies, I reckon is that the only one? Paddington 2's clinging on, I guess, but I mean,
Oh, that's gone now. That's
The
England.
families will have seen that by now. I think that's the only one that's on.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the other thing, I guess, I think the big thing here that I noticed is Jumanji's opening weekend was very poor because it was the second weekend of Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Jumanji's second weekend was massive, which was also the third weekend of Star Wars. So I wonder if that second weekend everyone was still choosing to watch Star Wars, and then maybe that gap happened where people are now going to watch Jumanji because they've seen Star Wars. That's what I reckon it is. But I still feel that if they've released Jumanji in like literally end of January, February, it would probably have a couple more 100 mil. But
it got a weird release schedule here, didn't it? Because it got an advanced screening. Was it
for like a day? Was it
Star Wars? I think it was a weekend. They're doing something similar with Coco in a couple of weeks as well. Like Coco's getting released here on the 13th and the 14th, and then it gets properly released on the 19th. It's always strange when they do that with things. I think if it had like solidly opened, what was it, a week after Star Wars, 2 weeks after Star Wars, drop it then, it would have made a lot more.
I think the other thing with Coco, which is funny, is that a trailer popped up when I was watching Jumanji for it, and it said like during the time of the year where you celebrate the dead, something like that. Because obviously this film was meant to come in October for what is it, El Dia de Muertos, or the Day of the Dead thing. Obviously we're getting it in January, so we're like, well, no one's celebrating dead people in January in England, are they? Coco, we've got that in a few weeks. But that has been our episode of Cinema Savvy News. We have returned after a 4-week hiatus, but not too many major storylines, but we've got everything covered as usual.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Hopefully we can make this a regular thing. It's difficult some weeks to like get married up to clear the schedule, which is, you have to bear with us with that. But no, it's good to be back.
Usually we get it. I guess it's the most consistent video.
Yeah.
These and the reactions, they're your guarantees you're going to get, basically. But I feel like, I mean, now we're bigging up into Oscar season, award season.
Yeah.
When the nominations start dropping, we'll have our own. I might as well say we'll have our own Oscars. We do the Oscar predictions game that we did last year. That will be up. We'll do a video covering the Oscars with our own natural predictions, as well as discussing the rules for the games. We'll have, as usual, the Oscar live stream. I guess because it's January, might as well really kick into Oscar mode. So when you check out our reviews coming up over the next month, we've basically got all the Oscar films coming out, haven't we?
Yeah, check it. Oh, go on, sorry.
I called you Ted, and I feel well bad. You've already seen a few. I have a few to see. I have some DVD screeners that I have clearly acquired legally, because some of them aren't coming out till after the actual Oscars.
Allegedly, George, we can't publicize that on a live stream, can we?
I just don't screen share the folders on my desktop. We've got a lot of Oscars.
I'm not admitting to that.
I don't admit to. Didn't I once like kick off because there was a film? This came out a way long time ago. But we might as well finish with this. It's a funny story. I was stressed with like uni work, and I think we were still kind of new. And you're like, "Can you watch this Everest film?" And I was like,
"Oh yeah, I remember that."
And I was like, "I don't know if I can sit. I'm really busy. Like, can you watch on?" I was like, "How dare you think I would pirate a film or something like that?" And then. And then Hateful Eight and all the other Oscar films like 2 months later. I'll admit to that. I'm not admitting to anything from this year. That was the old me. Don't complain because I might have a nuclear bomb on a red button on my desk that's bigger than yours.
Wow, you've immediately dated this video in popular culture.
I have. It's amazing. Next thing you know, we'll be talking about impeachments on Oscar nights. I guess we can round out. This has been another episode of Cinema Savvy News. Stick with us for a couple of reviews coming out this weekend. One coming actually tonight. Molly's game, I think, should be up.
Yeah, check out Facebook and Twitter. Links in the description down below. We're ramping up more content on there, and I'll be posting when reviews are going up. There should be another 2 movie reviews up this weekend for Hostiles and All the Money in the World. Just check out Facebook and Twitter or Instagram. We have all the information on there.
Definitely. But once again, thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.